So looking at a couple more examples of propositional functions and predicates, let's go ahead and consider another example that has more than one variable. So consider x plus y equals 1 right here. If we wanted to turn this into a propositional function, if we tried to just simply say p of x is this guy, this right here would not be a propositional function. It's not a propositional function because all the variables in its definition right here do not show up as arguments in the actual definition of the propositional function. So everything that shows up in the predicate right here, all the variables need to show up as arguments. So if instead you had written something like this thing here is a propositional function because all of the variables in its definition show up as arguments. Fantastic. So you can go ahead and play around with this and plug in different values of the variables x and y. And you could try to figure out when this thing is true or not. So for example, you could try something like, well, what if we let x be a value of 0 and y be a value of 1? Then, by the definition of this thing, this would be the proposition 0 plus 1 equals 1. And this thing right here has a truth value of true. Yes, indeed. 0 plus 1 equals 1. That reduces to 1 equals 1. So yes, that has a truth value of true. And you could try other things like q of 1 and 1. Well, that thing, unfortunately, that's going to be logically equivalent to the claim 2 equals 1, which unfortunately has a truth value of false right there. So that immediately begs the question, well, what are the values of x and y that make this particular propositional function true? So if you wanted to try to figure that out, well, what are all the possible values that make this particular propositional function right here, defined via this predicate? What makes it true? Well, first off, consider that we can't just plug in any old x and y. So if you're to try to do something like, oh, I don't know, q of 1 and dog, then that would be the statement 1 plus dog equals 1. Wait, that doesn't even make any sense whatsoever. So first off, to be able to answer this question, what are the values of the variables that make some sort of propositional function true here? We're first off going to have to define something that we refer to as a domain. And so a domain is going to be the values of x and y that are legitimate to plug into your propositional function. And then that'll help us be able to answer this question about making our propositional functions true or not. And so what we're going to discuss next are domains and then quantifiers, which will quantify this particular statement right here, what values of x and y make your propositional function true.